Can you talk about how this news kind of came about and how you came about this report?
Well, I got to be honest. I hope you guys can explain this to me because props to Casey Johnson, who was the first to report that the Knicks formally asked the Bulls for permission, and the Bulls denied the Knicks permission. Billy Donovan, by all accounts, we believe he only has 1 year left on his deal from the last extension he received, which was entering the 2022-23 season. What did it signal when the Knicks said, when the Bulls said no to the Knicks? I mean, I think that signaled right there how strongly the Bulls, the fondness, the level of fondness that the Bulls have for Billy Donovan. And look, one person very well acquainted with the dynamics in Chicago, well-placed source who knows the way the Bulls operate, their statement to me was they love Billy. And they is front office / ownership. And I don't think this is a huge revelation or a secret unearthed. You guys are there every day, and I think you know this well. Billy Donovan is incredibly well regarded by the people he works with and for. And so I really don't see this as any kind of surprise. Maybe I'm reading it wrong. You guys tell me. I mean, am I I'm a touch confused.
I don't think it's a surprise in the sense that it's happening. I think it's a surprise in the sense that there is so much, appreciation for him considering what the results have been. Was there anything from your sourcing that indicated anything about we love the job he's done despite the fact that it's been a play and exit the last 3 years, or we feel like we want to extend him to X, Y, or Z amount of years because we feel like we can get to a certain point after that time? Was there anything in the way of details about any of this?
I will also guess that this does not surprise you that any explanations or long addendums to support this information are not exactly widely circulated. I mean, the Bulls do not talk about this stuff. My sense is, I don't think from their side they were super excited about this news coming out. But it's been one, I can't say the only talking point, but ever since the Knicks' interest in Billy Donovan was revealed, his contract status has been a frequent discussion point in my conversations with those who are in coaching circles. And look, a source briefed on the talks has passed along that the talks actually did start before the Knicks showed interest, which would make sense given the fact that, again, Billy Donovan is down to the final year of his deal. But look, it's obviously I personally have been particularly plugged in to the Bulls last season and this season more than I normally would be, because you guys know I'm based in Dallas, not just because of my relationship with CHGO and making appearances with you guys, which has obviously been the fun part of the job, but going back to last season, Zach LaVine emerged on the trade market. I think it was before Thanksgiving. So the Bulls have been a team firmly on my radar since early last season because of the LaVine, the prospect of a potential LaVine trade, and all the trade possibilities that were discussed, those that finally happened with DeRozan exiting and Caruso exiting, bringing in Giddey, all of this season's talk, all the interest in Kobe White that has been swatted away. It's been a pretty tumultuous past 2 seasons, and I don't know. Again, you guys live every dribble with this team, and I do not. But are we holding Billy Donovan culpable for the on-court ups and downs of the past 2 seasons? I do think the case can certainly be made that the roster tumult and the uncertainty that has surrounded the roster within the season the past 2 years has factored in to the on-court performance. And look, this is also not exclusive to Billy Donovan. in my old age, I've learned every fan base, there is a loud contingent within every fan base that is very unhappy with the coach. This is just daily NBA life. And I can talk about it when I'm on DLS, CHGO, PHNX, DNVR. I remember going on PHLY, the Sixers with all their injuries, and I remember they were saying we got to fire Nick Nurse. So it's like this is always part of the discourse. But again, I'm going to shut up now, and I want you guys who watch this team every day, you tell me these past 2 seasons, I would argue that it's been difficult to hold Billy Donovan in some sort of firm critical judgment given how chaotic the past 2 seasons have been on the roster front.
No, that's true. It's hard to hold him in that firm judgment of it, for sure. But as I tell GOAT all the time, when you win, everybody gets a piece. And when you lose, everybody gets a piece. So Billy does, for me, play a part in the losing aspect too, as much as he plays in the winning.
And I will just add one thing. The Bulls losing in the play-in was a disappointment. The way they finished the season, a third straight loss to Miami. That was bad and disappointing. And yes, the coach has to be culpable in that scenario too, but that is a one-off game. And so I do think we have to factor that in.
That's true, but it is the game to decide your season. And if you're involved in that kind of loss, and I can point to you and say, oh man, if you did this, then I think you have an absolute problem. And I did that with Billy the previous season in the play-in when Kobe took Kobe White out of the game in the fourth quarter, put in Patrick Beverly. Bulls never scored again, and they ended up losing. But just looking at it on paper for Billy Donovan, it isn't the greatest thing. I mean, he's going into his 6th year as the Bulls head coach. He's the 3rd longest tenure head coach in the NBA behind Eric Spoelstra and Steve Kerr. And the record with the team is 195 and 205. He's had 1 season over 500, 1 playoff appearance when they lost in 5 to the Milwaukee Bucks, and 3 straight play-in tournaments, all losing to the Miami Heat. You're playing the same team. This one was even worse because they played the Heat the week previously. And then when in the play-in game, it was like they didn't play them at all. So, yes, I put some of that stuff on Billy. A majority of it I do put on the front office for sure, because you can only do as much as you can with what you're giving. And I watched Billy change this offense over in 1 season, which was really impressive to me, from that stagnant offense that didn't shoot threes, and their offense was basically DeMar DeRozan, and as GOAT told me, Andre Drummond like getting rebounds and trying to put the ball back in. That was their offense. So you went from that to being a run and gun kind of style team that shoots a lot of threes and, playing the young guys more and, letting Giddey handle it. I give Billy all the credit for that. I give him the credit for what he's done with the defense. I think all of it is fair. But to act like you don't get a piece of what's going wrong would just be, for me, malpractice. You have to you have to get a piece of what is going wrong as much as you get a piece of what's going right, because you're the head of the team. So if you're the head, that's how I think it should kind of be looked at.